Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Girl in the Woods. Episode 5. Chapter 39 to 47. Luke walked me to my room, holding my hand. Shane was looking at us with both shock and the pain in his eyes. I can understand the confusion, but what about the pain? Maybe he doesn't want to see me having an affair with someone as perfect as Luke. Yeah, that must be the reason. Luke is so handsome, smart, and wealthy. Any girl can spend the whole life with happiness if she has someone like Luke in her life. Shane doesn't want to see me happy. He needs me to get hurt and cry every second of my life. After coming to my room, Luke locked the door behind us. I sat on my bed, rubbing my aching neck with one hand. "Let me see," he said, coming towards me and sitting next to me. "Shane is a wild monster," Luke whispered, checking my neck and gently rubbing it. "Do you have any cream to apply?" "Yes." I walked to my small cupboard and took out a small tube of cream. It is usual for me to face these incidents, so I always stay ready for everything. Then he gently applied the cream to my burning neck. I know Luke treats me purely as a sister. He said I am his girlfriend just to protect me from Shane. But Luke, Shane will go and tell this to everyone, won't he? I asked. He stared at me for some time. "What you worry most about? What other people would think after they know this, or what Jake might think after getting to know this?" he questioned. I looked down. I don't give a damn about other people. I have suffered beyond I can bear because of them. They know only to hurt me and make fun out of me. But, Jake. He clearly said he doesn't even want any other guy to look at me. I know he is a possessive type and I love it. A guy should definitely feel possessive for his love. You worry about Jake, don't you? Without saying anything, I looked at him. Sarah, I have no words to express how happy I am because he has you in his life. You are so loyal to him, he replied, holding both of my hands. Don't ever worry about what Jake might think. He knows about me more than anyone in this world. He knows that whatever I do them for both of you, he assured. I smiled with great relief in my heart. I know I loved Luke for some time, thinking he is the person who texts with me. Even now, when I remember how I felt about him those days, I felt utterly embarrassed. But within this short period, Luke became so close to my heart. I have started loving him with all my heart, but this time as a brother. He always gives me the care and love Shane never gives me as a brother. Even his mere presence can make me calm and happy. I am so glad they are best friends or more than best friends. I don't have anyone else in my life. It is just the two of them. I don't want to lose any of them. Luke's POV. I stepped out of Sarah's room and asked her to lock the door from inside. I started slowly going down the stairs. Halfway through the stairs, I saw Shane was sitting on the floor, leaning to the wall. He has buried his face between his knees. I knew Shane for many years. Until university time, I knew him as just a brilliant goalkeeper. I didn't know much about his character, because in the fields he is excellent and passionate. He is indeed aggressive, but that is common in most of the football players. However, after starting university, my perception of him completely changed. When Jake asked me to be a friend of him, so we can protect Sarah from him, I agreed because I couldn't say no to Jake. But deep down me, I hated being a friend of Shane and his stupid friends. Shane was cruel, and his friends just wanted to impress him. I don't see any other point why those wanted to hurt Sarah. She has done nothing wrong to them. It was not hard for me to become a lifetime member of his group. He welcomed me with open arms. I was different from the rest of his gang. So Shane always shows some respect for me even though I felt nothing but disgust about him. I skipped lectures and just spent time with them roaming around the university like a real gangster. God! I hate that. But I tried to make myself happy because I could stop them from going to the extreme levels and hurt people many times. For all this time, I have known Shane as an aggressive, rude, and self-centric person, who seeks pleasure from hurting other people. Therefore, I couldn't understand his behavior today. He does not like his sister having an affair with a guy like me because he knows about my family status and my qualities. He knows that I am capable of keeping a girl like a princess. He doesn't want his sister to have such happiness. So I understand if he becomes furious, but he was in pain. I have never seen Shane in pain. He knows how to give pain, not how to receive. He raised his head as he heard my footsteps. His eyes were red. Has he cried? Norway. That is impossible. I still remember how he humiliated a poor boy in our batch until he ran away, and not returned to the university for a week just because he cried as a girl dumped him. In my perspective, that boy was entitled to cry. That girl was evil, and she ruthlessly dumped him. Shane told, the guys who cry are not guys. He swears that he would never shed a tear no matter what happened. He stood up, and his eyes were focusing on mine. Look, Shane, I am sorry, I said, walking towards him. He didn't say anything. I shouldn't have barged into your house and yelled at you like that. But I am so sick of seeing you bully this innocent girl over and over again. I have to stop it somehow. Still, he was silent. His eyes were gazing at mine helplessly. I felt it is so difficult to look at him. I never thought I would feel something other than disgust about him, but I am actually feeling sorry for him for a reason even I couldn't understand. Please. Stop harassing her further. She has suffered enough, Shane. Leave her alone. I said, and then I started walking towards the door. I want to get out and have some fresh air. I want some alone time to process everything. He is not the only one in pain, after all. Luke, his broke voice raised behind me. I turned around. His face looked flushed. His eyes were no longer laughing sarcastically at you. He looks innocent, and it suits him perfectly. No matter what are his wild qualities, I must admit that he is so hot. No wonder girls are all over him. Do you? He stuttered. Do you love her? He asked, without letting his eyes off me. She is my girlfriend, Shane, I said, and then I stormed off. I drove a short distance away from their home and stopped the car. My mind was so confused, and I wanted to think. Holding the steering wheel from both of my hands, I placed my head on it. Until today, I had a tiny bit of hope. But it vanished today like a dewdrop exposed to the sun. I am happy, there is no doubt in that. But deep inside, my heart was shattered to a million pieces, and I know that those pieces can never be stuck together. I don't want to stick them together as well, because then it will be someone else who will be in my state. That someone worth more than my life. God. I wish I could go through a mind wash if there is something like that. Luke. Sweet. Joyful, kind, loyal, everybody sees me like that. Well. They are right. I am all of that, but I too have a heart that feels things and has emotions like everyone else. I stayed like that for some more time and then started driving to Jake's place. I earlier sent him a text saying Sarah is fine. Now I have to explain in detail. I asked, Sarah, not to say anything to him. I know how he will react when he knows about what happened, so I want to make him calm down first. He wanted to kill those who tried to hurt her yesterday. He was far more worried about her, that's the only thing preventing him from killing them right there. But he didn't just let it go. He used his invisible hand to teach them the most important lesson they had in their life. He was enraged, seeing Sarah getting humiliated and bullied by everyone. However, he had no choice but wait because he didn't want to get involved and draw unwanted attention. Trying to re the girl he loves was far beyond the limits, so he had to involve. He was, however, not calmed down yet. I don't wonder if he just invades to Sarah's house and beat Shane until he couldn't walk. After getting to Jake's place, I gradually explained everything to him. He got angry as I predicted, but I could manage it. "Do you think he will stop harassing her further?" he asked. "I believe so," I replied. "He better stop harassing her, or I would kill him for real," he screamed. "You know, Luke, I couldn't sleep even for a second last night. I couldn't get rid of thinking about what will happen if me late few minutes. They will ruin her innocence and let her die like a stray dog. She went through all the bullying all these years, she is stronger than any other girl. But I know she is not strong enough to go through something like that. She will kill herself. I almost lost my princess yesterday, Luke, he was in so much pain. Don't worry, Jake, you could protect her before anything happened, yet. But what if I was a bit late? She is so vulnerable, Luke." After yesterday I realized one thing, I looked at him curiously. She is not safe at all. Anything can happen at any time. She is not safe with me or without me. I feel like I did a mistake, pulling her to this complicated life. Don't talk nonsense, Jake. Everything is going to be all right, I said without thinking much. You are the only one who knows everything about me. Knowing all of them, do you still think everything is going to be all right? He asked, with lot of hopes in his eyes. I know he expects me to soothe his aching heart. But how am I going to lie to him? There is nothing more he needs from me than being honest with him. So how I tell him, everything is going to be all right when I feel nothing is going to be all right for a long time. Chapter 40, Sarah's POV. I stayed in my room until the evening. Since I ate at Jake's, I didn't feel hungry either. Jake called me like 3 hours after I came home. He was a bit upset. I could easily recognize it from his voice. He said Luke told about what has happened with Shane. So his worries are understandable. It felt like a dream to talk with him like this. Who thought I would be ever able to have him in my life? Mighty Prince Jake. Around 5 p.m., I came outside of my room, and carefully went down, checking where Shane is. The whole house was buried in deep silence. I think he has gone out. Thank God. I first cleaned the kitchen because it was a total mess. My mom should have cooked something in the morning and didn't clean the kitchen. After that, I made myself a coffee and some toasts. I went back to my room and tried to work on an assignment that is due next week. But my mind was all over the place. I had so many puzzles, I needed solutions for. I want to know from what and whom Jake tries this much to protect me. On the other hand, I want to know the real reason behind Shane's behavior. I spent nearly 1 hour just looking at my laptop without typing a single word. My life seems to be getting too much complicated. Without wasting any more time, I went back to the kitchen and made my parents' favorite dishes for dinner. I just wanted to calm them down before they punish me for not coming home yesterday. Yesterday, I didn't even remember that I require to inform my parents. If I had ordinary parents, they would be really worried and ended up going to the police. But I don't have ordinary parents. Maybe they didn't even notice that I didn't come home yesterday. During the dinner, they didn't question me where I was last night. Instead, they were just anxious about Shane, because he hasn't come home yet. They were trying to contact him, but his phone was switched off. They even tried reaching his friends. But none of them knew where he is. He never does something like this. Mom was almost crying. It is still 9. Maybe he forgot to tell about a party he has to attend. Dad tried to convince her. I just clean the dining table and the kitchen in silent. It is funny to see how much they worried when their 20-year-old son got a bit late, but they didn't even notice their daughter didn't come home yesterday. When he went out, Dad asked from me. I am not sure, I answered. There is no point in asking her. She knows nothing. Stupid batch, Mom yelled at me. She is just trying to release her anger and worry on me. It is better to get out of here before she becomes even worse. So I finished my work as quick as I could, and went to my room, my only safe place in this hellhole. I chat with Jake and wait till like 12 a.m. Shane hasn't come home yet. I went down and saw my parents were still waiting in the living room. Why don't you go out and search for him? Mom was demanding. Where should I search? We asked all of his friends, even they don't know where he is. He must be really busy with some work. That's why he couldn't call us. Dad replied. Please God, protect my kid. No one cares about my boy. Mom started crying and blaming Dad. He is not a kid anymore. He is 20 now. Dad said, angrily. Shane does all the wicked things, but he never makes my parents worry. If he wants to get drunk or do any kind of a bad thing, he usually stays in a friend's house informing my parents that he is going to study there or some other lie. So, my parents have no idea about Shane's real character. From their point of view, Shane getting late without informing is a thing they should worry about. I didn't feel like going to my room. No matter how much they hate me, they are my family. I couldn't just leave them to worry alone. I sat on the staircase, and sent messages to both Jake and Luke, asking if they happen to know where Shane is. But they didn't have any idea. Dad was calling everyone trying to find some information. Mom was just crying and complaining. It was around 1 a.m. now, and I was also getting to worry about Shane. He was sad, and in pain for some reason. Did he go somewhere because he was sad? No. Shane is not that stupid. He always takes care of him. It was 2 a.m. now. I was really worried. Did something really happen to him? No, please, God. Protect him. He is cruel and knows nothing but giving pain to others. But he is still my twin brother. My heart aches for him. Please protect him. Mom was a complete crying mess, and Dad was extremely nervous. Suddenly, we heard a car entered our driveway. Dad literally ran to the door, with Mom following him. I also stood up. I was pretty sure that is Shane's car. I am so familiar with its sound. Shane! I heard Dad screamed. Shane entered the house. He was super drunk. He couldn't even stand up straight. Honey! Mom holds him from his hand and wept. Don't worry, Mom. I am good. Shane said, trying to walk toward the staircase. He stopped as he saw me and stared at me like he just saw me for the first time in his life. His eyes stretched to a thin line, indicating unbearable pain. Shane! Why you drank this much, and why you didn't inform us you are getting late, Dad yelled at him. You know how much you make us worried, he screamed again. But Shane didn't answer. He just stared at me. Shane. What? I am talking to you. Dad shook him from his hand. Dad. Shane screamed at Dad. All of us got shocked as Shane never speaks to my parents like this. In no time Dad's palm hit Shane's cheek, making his skin dark red. How dare you to talk to me like that? Came home all drunk and yelling at me, Dad tried to hit him again. But Mom stopped him by holding his hand and screaming. Dad, I am sorry. Please. I want to be alone, he replied, and started walking towards me, having his eyes still focused on my face. No need to say how much afraid I was. Is he going to hit me again? I don't even have anyone to protect me now. But he just walked past me towards his room. Mom just dropped to a chair weeping. What has happened to my kid? I told you once. He is not a kid anymore. Stop crying, will you? Dad screamed. Sarah, he then yelled at me. Go and see what he up to be, he ordered. Without saying anything, I went up. I walked towards his room. His door was closed. I lingered near his room for some time, trying to listen to what is going on. But I couldn't hear anything. Maybe he fell into sleep. But he just entered the room, how can he sleep this fast? I stayed for a few more minutes, but no sounds at all. He has closed the door, and I think he falls asleep, I informed Dad. After a few more minutes, we all returned to our own rooms. But I couldn't really get my mind off of Shane. He is in real pain. But I couldn't understand the reason behind that. I wish I am close to my brother. So he can just open up to me and maybe I can help him to get over whatever pestering him. However, we are not close to each other at all, and there was no way I can go and talk to him about his feelings. I felt so bad about him. I don't like to see him in pain. After some time, I heard a door opened. Then another door opened. It was the bathroom next to Shane's room. That door was a bit broken, so it produced an unpleasant sound every time someone tries to open it. I stayed quiet, listening to the noises. After a few minutes, I heard the bathroom door opened again. Maybe Shane went to the bathroom. Should I get him something to drink? Lime juice or something? I don't really know what I should get to a drunken person. I waited in my room for a few minutes more, thinking should I go out and check on him or not. Finally, I went out, ready to face any consequences. A faint light falls onto the corridor from his room. I walked towards his room, making sure not to make any noise. His door was not fully closed. Why you made me this stupid? His voice raised from inside. I got panicked. To whom is he talking? Is he calling someone over the phone? You know how much I love you, and how much it feels ridiculous to love you, his frail voice raised again. He is definitely talking to someone over the phone. I tried my best to hide my feelings. You know how much it hurts to see you every day and not telling you about my feelings? You know how much it hurts to resist myself from kissing you intensely. No, you don't know. How could you know, when you get everything you want, and everyone loves you, now you have got someone to love for real You know how it made me felt. I feel like wanting to kill myself. Is he crying? His voice sounds like that. I don't think he is talking over the phone. He doesn't give plenty of time to the other person to talk. He just keeps on talking. Maybe he is just talking to himself. Drunk talking. I am a monster. I know you hate me. You feel nothing but disgust for me, don't you? But I can't help but loving you. God. I love you. Why don't you feel me? He was definitely crying. Anyway, whom is he referring to? With whom is he in love? After all, he is not upset because of what happened in the morning. This has nothing to do with me. That is a relief. But he must be finally loving a girl for real, after sleeping with almost all the girls in the batch. Shane loves her so much. He is totally crazy about her. But whoever this girl is, she does not love him. He has broken girls' hearts many times. Finally, someone broke his heart. Poor Shane. I know how hard it is to be in a one-sided love. I stayed like that for years without knowing Jake also had feelings for me. Even Shane doesn't deserve to be suffered from this pain. I wanted to go and comfort my brother. I know it sounds crazy after how he treats me for my entire life. But I wanted to give him a warm hug, and pat his back, assuring him everything is going to be okay. Maybe he won't mind me staying with him since he is super drunk. I gently opened his door a bit more. I am not gay. Why you made me a one? Why you made me love you? His voice raised between cries at the same time. I froze. Gay? What is he talking about? Is he loving another guy instead of a girl? No way, that could happen. No one can be straight as Shane. He had countless girlfriends. I was just staring at him, without being able to process anything. He was sitting at his table, looking at his laptop. He had removed his shirt, and he was just in his jeans. You know. I can just do anything for you. I don't even care about being gay just for you. Can't you love me back the same way I love you? He was telling like a mad person while touching his laptop screen. He just moved a bit from his position, giving me a clear view of his laptop screen. Oh my God! It was the only thing that came to my mind as I was staring at the image of shirtless Luke smiling. Chapter 41, I was just staring at Luke's photo on Shane's laptop, couldn't even believe what I have heard and seen. How do any of these things possible? Shane had affairs with multiple girls. It is not just rumored that he has slept with many girls at the university. He took some of these girls home when my parents were not around. He always told me beforehand whenever he is taking a girl because he requires me to stay in my room during that time. So how he could grow feelings over a guy when he had so many girls in his life? Above everything, how he could have feelings over Luke, who is not at all gay. Is this a dream? What is happening with my life lately? Everything I am experiencing right now is quite impossible, and I never expected them to happen. Luke. How you could love her? How could you? Shane's voice raised again. How could you come to my home and say that you are in love with my sister? Don't you think what would I feel? You don't know, Luke. It felt like you stabbed me with a knife right at my heart which beats just for you. God. I am going crazy. He tried to stand up and walk towards his bed, but he was not stable, and he was going to trip over. I couldn't stop myself from running to him and support him. Shane. Be careful. I hold him and support him to walk towards the bed and sit on it. You. He kept on looking at me for a few seconds. His eyes were all red, and his face was flushed with tears. His hair, which he always keeps neatly styled, looked rumpled, and he was a total mess. I have never seen him in such a miserable state. Arrogant, self-centric Shane in such a helpless situation. Why you have to pick him out of everyone? He asked. I didn't know how to answer him. I don't have an affair with Luke after all. So Shane is just suffering for nothing. But I highly doubt Luke will ever return to Shane's feelings, even if he happened to be gay and he has no affair with anyone else. He has told me various times how much he hates Shane. Shane is like the most disgusting person in Luke's life. Answer me, Sarah. Why you chose him? Why it had to be him, he demanded, shaking me from my shoulders. Shane. Listen, you are not in the right mind. Please go to sleep now. I tried to convince him. Sleep? How I can sleep when the person I love like crazy is having an affair with someone else? Tell me, how I can sleep, he screamed. Shane, I tried to talk. But he silenced me, keeping his palm on my lips. I have to tell you this, Sarah. I want you to listen to me. I am fed up, keeping everything just to me, he continued on saying. I nodded my head, assuring him I am ready to listen. I love Luke, Sarah. I love him like crazy. I know what you may think. I am not gay, believe me. But I can't stop my feelings. For him, I knew it before he told it, but hearing it from his own words sounded more awkward. If Shane was so close to me all the time, I don't think it will feel this awkward. But he never even talks with me like a brother would usually do. I don't know how I started to grow up feelings for him. I think I had a crush on him since high school when we started to play against each other in matches. I was always mesmerized by how calm and joyful he is, even in the court. You know, when all the others are aggressive and ruthless, he is like an angel. He radiates happiness, Sarah. I was willing to get lost against his team, just to see his wonderful smile brighten up his handsome face. God! This is getting even more awkward. I never thought Shane would talk about someone like this ever. When did he become this poetic and romantic? I thought it is just a crush because there was no way I have feelings for a guy, but everything changed after getting to the university. I realized that whatever I feel for him, is not just a crush. However, I was so afraid to accept that. I didn't want to be gay, I thought it would kill my reputation. I started to sleep with all the girls I could get, and I bragged about the way I them whenever I was with Luke and other buddies. I pretend like I really enjoy all my time with those girls. But the truth was they were not able to give me the satisfaction I was looking for. I thought I could hide my feelings doing that, but you know what, it made him disgust me even more. He was saying. So he was fooling around with girls just to hide his feelings. All those were just an act to hide something more important. He is surely so obsessed with Luke, maybe even more than I was obsessed with Jake. You know. I got fascinated seeing Luke half naked whenever we took bath together after practices, more than sleeping with all those girls. Oh. Please, Shane. This is getting really weird. I don't want to continue this talk further. But I didn't want to leave him as well. He is so vulnerable and in pain. I know how hard it is to be in pain all alone. I love Shane, no matter how bad he treats me. After all, he is my twin brother. My own blood. He was pulling his hair from both of his hands while muttering random things about Luke. Shane, this is not a good time to talk. Please, go to sleep. I said, trying to stop him pulling his hair. No. I can't. I can't just suffer like this. I have to tell him. I should let him know how much I love him, he said while trying to reach his phone, which was on the other side of his bed. Is he really going to call Luke? At this time? God. This is not good. I know there is no time that would be good to let Luke know about Shane's feelings because of two reasons. First, Shane is a guy, and second, he hates Shane. However, this time is the worst possible time to let him know. I have to stop Shane. Shane has already got his phone, and he was about to dial Luke. Shane! Stop! Don't do that! I screamed, holding his hands. I am not letting you drunk dial him. I am drunk or not, my feelings are all same, he said, trying to get rid of me. Please, Shane, believe me. You are just trying to make things worse. I was trying my best to stop him. You are afraid, me letting your boyfriend know that I too have feelings for him, aren't you? You jealous? I thought you are here to help me. But you are just being yourself. Taking everything I love away from me, he screamed furiously. My eyes filled with tears. I have never taken anything you love away from you, Shane. You are the one who always tried to do that for me. Even here, I am trying to help you. There are like billions of guys out there, and you had to start an affair with him? Do you know how you two make me feel? I felt like I want to kill myself. I felt like I should just root out my own eyes before I see both of you together. You know how much it hurts to see the person you love having an affair with someone else? You two are killing me. Shane screamed while crying like crazy. It was crystal clear, he meant every single word he said. Our lie is just killing him. I can't let this happen. He is my brother. I can't let him in this pain. He was again trying to dial Luke's number. Shane. I don't have an affair with him, I said immediately. What? The phone was dropped from his hands. He was looking at me with wide eyes. We are just friends. Luke said we have an affair because you were hurting me, and he wanted to stop you. I said. Are you telling me the truth? He asked suspiciously. Yes. Shane, he is a good friend of mine, other than that there is nothing between us. Thank God, he hugged me so tightly out of nowhere. I was utterly shocked, I even forgot to breathe. He was gently caressing my head while hugging me so tightly. I couldn't stop my tears rolling down and wetting his naked chest. I have never been this close to my brother. How much I always wanted to be close to him. How much I wish he treats me as his little sister, not like a salve. How much I went through to have a moment like this. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much for telling me the truth. You saved me from going all crazy, and lose my little chance that I would have with Luke. I am forever in debt to you for this, he whispered to my ear. I don't know if he really meant it or, he is just drunk talking. I don't know if I did the right thing even. But for the moment, I am so happy. I am over the moon to have my brother loves me, even for a few minutes. I know I am desperate. But do you ever had a brother or a sister that doesn't care about you at all? No matter how hard you try to get close to them. If you had, then you will understand what I am feeling right now. There is a possibility of sunrises from the west than Luke loves Shane. Still, I decided to give it a try. I would try my best for Shane. I am pretty sure, if there is someone who can change Shane, that must be Luke. After all, Shane loves Luke so much, no matter how much of a jerk he has been to other people, I wish Luke could love him back, and they can have a happy life together. Shane would be so lucky to have someone as perfect as Luke in his life. But will it be same for Luke? Am I going to be a good sister, but a bad friend? God, this is going to be really complicated. I was carried in my own thoughts while embracing my brother's warm age.ug. I came to my room after he slept. He was just talking random stuff all the time before he falls into sleep. I was also exhausted. Right after he fell into sleep, I came to my room and slept. The next morning, I woke up with someone shaking my hand. It was highly unusual for anyone to come to my room in the morning. I opened my eyes all panicked. Shane. Chapter 42, Shane. I almost screamed, looking panicked at him. SHH, he just kept his palm over my mouth to make me silence. What are you doing here? I asked after he took his palm off me. He was all refreshed after last night's incident. He has taken a shower, changed clothes, and back to typical stylish Shane. I want to talk to you, he said, gazing at me. I was still lying on my bed. So, I just sat on the bed, ready to hear him. Look, Sarah, I was so drunk last night, and I don't even remember what I talked about, he said, after a brief pause. I don't want you to tell them with anyone, including Luke. I am not telling them with anyone, Shane. You don't have to remind me that. I said, bit annoyingly. Good. Remember this, whatever the feelings I have, I will deal with them. I don't want anyone to be involved in them, understood, he said firmly. After what we shared yesterday, you don't want me to get involved, really, Shane? I think you should always be drunk, then you just put your ego away and act like a normal human being. Understood, he asked again since I didn't reply. I nodded my head. Words, he said. I understood, Shane. I won't involve anything related to you. I answered, not trying to hide the disappointment in my voice. That's good. Otherwise, your life will be even more miserable, he said finally and left my room. I hate you, Sarah. I really do. You should have known he will act like this after he got sober. You craved to build up a good relationship with your brother, and you thought that was a good time for that? How naive are you, Sarah? Anyway, I am pretty sure of one thing. Shane is not going to get Luke at this way. I went to the cafe in the afternoon. It was a pretty busy afternoon at the cafe, and I couldn't even get a chance to look at my phone. The cafe was short of staff, and Mr. Donald asked me if I could do another shift as well. He had helped me whenever I was in trouble, so I thought of helping him out this time. I was attending to a table when I got shocked with who just entered the cafe. Jake. No need to say how happy I was to see him here right now. God. I miss him so much. My face got bloomed with a smile, and I was just staring at him, completely forgetting about the surrounding. His eyes stretched as he saw me. Did he look annoyed? But why? He was just fine when I came to work. So, what has happened within these few hours? He sat near a table in the corner while having his eyes glued to me. I just grabbed a menu book and walked towards his table as soon as I could. His face has turned to red. God. He is really angry. What has happened to your phone? He whispered, as soon as I reached him. Phone, handing him the menu book, I took out my phone from the pocket. It was switched off. How long has this been dead? I didn't even notice that. You know how many times I tried to reach you, he said again in a low tone. But I could see the anger and worry in his voice. Jake. I am, but he interrupted me. You said, your shift finish at 5. I was trying to reach you since then. At first, your phone worked, but you didn't bother to pick up. Oh. I totally forgot to tell him that I have to work for an extra shift. It is not like that, Jake. I was super busy. Mr. Donald asked me to do an extra shift for him. You didn't think you should let me know that, he asked, annoyingly. I was going to text you about that. But I got busy, and I missed that. I said apologetically. I know I should have informed him that I would be late, but is that a reason for him to get this much angry and come here looking for me? It is just 7:30 still, not that late either. You know how much worried I was? I got Luke to call your home as well. What? You made him call my home? God! He is really out of mind. I am not a kid, why he got worried this much? Did I have any other option? He asked, in the same angry tone. When I got to know you are not home, I just hurried here. You don't know what I felt on my way to here. I was nearly going crazy. Well, you didn't have to. I am not a kid, Jake. Can you please make an order? Mr. Donald is already giving us suspicious looks. I said a bit annoyingly. I don't think he even heard the last part of my talk. He was just staring at me. You can bring whatever you like for me to drink. Before that, meet me in the washroom area, he said, returning the menu book. Jake, we can't, I tried to speak, but he just stood up and walked towards the washroom area. He is insane. I know he's dominant and want to have control over everything. I like that in him, but today he is acting just childish. I walked towards the washroom area. He was there in front of the men's washroom. After he saw me, he started walking beyond the washrooms. There was a small dark passage at the end of the washrooms. Thank God! There was no one outside the washrooms, else they would suspect something fishy. I quickly walked behind him. It was so dark, and I couldn't even see anything properly. Jake! You are truly insane. I hate you. Then all of a sudden someone dragged me to a corner and hugged me so tightly. My favorite cologne smell pierced my nostril. Jake! You are acting like crazy, I said, angrily. Am I? He asked, placing a kiss on my forehead. He can wipe off my anger with just a kiss. God! How much obsessed am I with him? I totally forgot I was mad at him. Jake, it is not good we sneak out like this. What if someone sees us? I said worriedly. No one would come here, relax, he said, gently caressing my head. I wish there was a little more light for me to see his handsome face. I want to see each and every feature of his sculpted face. Is it a bad thing, I worried about you, Sarah? He gently asked. No. Jake. Listen, I know you are not a kid. But don't forget you were almost got RD day before yesterday. I can't really get mind off that incident, and I started to get worried when you don't answer my calls and texts. I must be overthinking and acting like insane. But it is purely because you are mine. I am doing everything to protect what is mine. I couldn't find anything to respond. My heart filled with warm emotions and my eyes filled with warm tears as usual. I tightened my grip around him and forced me closer to him. I closed my eyes, embracing his warmth. I am such a fool to get angry with him even for a second. He loves me a lot. He has every right to be worried, given that what I have gone through in the past. I am so sorry, Jake. I made you worried. That will never happen again. I will always keep you updated about everything. I whispered to his chest. He kissed my head gently. I love you too much, Sarah. I have never loved anyone this much. I know I am becoming obsessive over you, but what can I do? You are too important to take a chance with. I love you too. I don't want anything other than you in my life. I could die like this in your arms, Jake. I could just die in your arms. You are not mad at me anymore, right? He then whispered, gently placing his lips on my ear. His lips gave me a tingle, which ran through my entire body. How can I be mad at you, when you act like this." I placed a kiss on his cheek. "Mr. Donald will fire me today," I said, chuckling. "I will take care of that, don't worry," he said, placing another kiss on my cheek. "Okay, I know you can get anything done, Mr. Perfect. But I really need to go now," I said, trying to pull myself off from him. "When is your shift ending?" he asked. 9. "I will ask Luke to drop you home." "No, Jake. Don't bother him, I can go alone." "Don't try to negotiate with me, princess." He placed one last kiss on my forehead and then let me go. "Where were you?" Mr. Donald yelled at me as he saw me. "I had to use the ladies' room, Mr. Donald." "I am sorry," I said in the most apologetically tone I could. "Get to work," he then yelled. Thank God. He didn't take it seriously. Jake needs to keep us a secret. But I don't know if he keeps on acting like this, how long we will be able to keep this as a secret. Jake left the cafe after some time. I finished my shift at 9 p.m, and Luke was already there in front of the cafe. "How are you?" Luke asked as I sit on the passenger seat. "Good," I smiled. You had to see how was Jake, earlier," he said laughing. "He even made me call your home." "Who answered the phone?" "Shane," he said, laughing. "Shane," I said, a bit worriedly. "What did he say?" I asked. "Just said, you are not at home. But you know, he was unbelievably decent." Luke replied smiling. "Yeah. He must be. Especially to you. You know, Sarah. I observe something has changed about Shane. But I can't figure out exactly what it is. In a good way or the bad way. I really don't know. But sometimes he makes me uncomfortable." "What?" It just slipped from my mouth, involuntarily. "Never mind, anyway, I think it's good we told him that we have an affair. Now you can stay away from troubles," he said, freeing a sigh. I couldn't comprehend what he meant by Shane makes him uncomfortable. I didn't feel like digging into that either, because I was not sure what will slip from my mouth if I talk about that. On the other hand, Shane clearly mentioned that he doesn't need anyone to get involved in this. I don't know if I should tell Luke that I told Shane we lied to him about having an affair. But what is the excuse I could give him for revealing that to Shane? I better not tell anything to Luke right now. I hate keeping secrets. Especially from the people I care about. Chapter 43, I woke up early and prepared breakfast, then started to get ready for the lectures. I wanted to wear that pretty floral dress which he bought me. But if I change my clothing to something that's stylish, it will draw unwanted attention. Therefore, I just wore my regular clothing, a t-shirt, a baggy sweater, and a jean. However, I tried my best to look beautiful with the limited resources I had. I didn't pay much attention to my looks earlier, but now I have to think about how I am looked on his eyes. Coming to university never felt this exciting. Simple expectation of seeing him around, knowing that he belongs to me is sufficient to keep me happy. I saw him in the locker area when I was taking some of my books out of the locker. He was discussing with one of our lectures. He was so focused on what he was telling, and he didn't see me staring at him. "Sarah, you are at the university, there are a lot of people around you. Stop being creepy, you can't stare at him like this." I quickly took my books out and closed the locker. Then I walked past Jake and the lecturer, without even looking at them. In front of the lecture hall, I met Luke. "Hey!" I greeted him. "I am coming to lectures today," he said with a huge grin. "Really? Great. I don't want to tag with them anymore. I am glad that I could speak to Shane about you. So now I don't have any reason to stay with his filthy gang, he said, chuckling. Oh. He is obviously so happy. But Shane will miss him a lot. Poor Shane. We both entered the lecture hall together. Luke sat next to me. After some time Jake also came, and he took a seat in the front row as usual. I got a sudden urge to send him a text. Hey. I pressed send. I saw he took his phone out and look. Then he put it back to his pocket. I was holding the phone in my hands, anxiously waiting for his reply. But it seems he didn't send me a reply before putting his phone back. You jerk. You could send me enough texts while at the university when I don't know who you are, but now when I know you, you can't even send me a single text. Hey? Why don't you reply? Can't we even text during university hours? I again sent him a text. He read the message but didn't send any reply, just like before. You are an IT. I hate you, Jake. We had 2 lectures in a row. Both of them were mathematics-related subjects. I felt like my mind was exhausted. So I just went to the canteen to grab something hot to ease my mind. The whole football team was sitting together, and they were discussing something in the middle of the canteen. The only place there was a space to have a seat was just behind them. Normally, in this kind of a scenario, I would just walk away taking my drink, because I didn't want to be anywhere close to Shane and his gang. But I didn't want to do that again. There is nothing I have to get afraid of when both Jake and Luke is there for me. So I sat behind them, sipping my coffee. Jake was explaining something seriously to the team. He was sitting turning his back to me, so I couldn't see his face. I was anyway angry with him. He still didn't reply to my text. He didn't even look at me for the whole day. I want someone to take responsibility for this task, Jake said to his team. I will do that, Luke volunteered. I can help you. It was Shane. No need. Luke said instantly. I could clearly see the disappointment in Shane's face. Everyone was looking at Luke with wide eyes. Luke is being rude, isn't he? That is not his usual nature. He truly disgusts Shane. Well, what I meant was, I can handle this alone. There are other tasks we want your support. Luke said again. I think even he felt, what he said was not appropriate. Shane just smiled. But I am pretty sure it is a fake smile. He must be crying from inside. I went to the computer lab since I have some more time before the next lecture. I wanted to practice the 3D modeling thing we learned last week. I think I checked my phone for more than 20 times to see if he had replied. But there were no replies from him. You better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Perfect. I couldn't even do my work with full concentration. I wanted to call him and just scold at him for keeping me waiting. I came out of the lab and started wandering in the corridors, without any specific place to go. I still had some more time before the next lecture. I wanted to meet our statistic professor before my next lecture. I had to get some information related to one of the assignments. But he was not in his room too. I considered going to the library. I was walking towards the library when suddenly someone pulled me to an empty lecture room, closing my mouth, so I couldn't speak. Jake. Is he out of his mind? He closed the door behind us, and then released his palm on my mouth. Are you insane, Jake? I yelled at him. He was laughing. What is wrong with you? I was so angry with him. Don't you want to keep this a secret? Do you think we can keep this a secret if you act like this? I asked again. Relax, princess. I just wanted to see you and hold you like this, he said, putting his arms around me. You didn't even look at me the whole day and didn't even reply to my texts. Now you want to hold me? I asked angrily. I want to make you wanted me more. So when you get me, your happiness gets doubled, he laughed again. You are truly insane. I pouted. You look beautiful when you are angry, princess. Should I make you angry every day? He asked, playing with my hair. You are an it. I said, punching his chest. I don't think he even felt I am punching his chest, he has a seriously strong chest. I wanted to touch his chest, but not over his t-shirt. God! Don't think dirty, Sarah. What is wrong with you? What is on your mind, babe? You got blushed, he chuckled while touching my cheeks. What? No. I am not thinking anything. I said, looking away. Oh, really? If you don't have anything on your mind. I have something in mind for both of us, he said, pulling me even closer. I looked at him curiously. This is not the Jake I knew, right? When did he change this much? He has changed a lot, but it is just for me. For others, he is just the same serious Jake. How about you give me a kiss? He asked. I have given you enough kisses, not those kisses. I mean, a real one, he said, having a playful smile. What? I said, trying my best to hide my dark red face from him. Please, babe, he said, taking my face from both of his hands. I know, I had a lot of fantasies of touching those lips with mine, and drown in his warmth, but now when he requests that, I felt extremely shy and I couldn't even looking into his eyes. My heart started to thump in my chest. I can't. I said, trying to escape from him. But why? Why can't I kiss these rosy lips? He ran his finger over my lips. I never thought it would be this hard. He has kissed my cheeks, my forehead 100 times. I cherished every single one of them. So, why can't I just let him kiss me there? I am just being ridiculous. He is not asking me to have sex, it is just a kiss. I don't know, I have never kissed anyone in lips. Well, except for that day when that filthy stole a kiss from me. You may call me naive and stupid. I think I am both of them. I raised on my fingertips and placed my lips gently on him. I think he got a bit shocked, so his grip on my waist got loose. He parted his lips, trying to capture mine in between his. However, before that, I escaped from him, giggling. I ran to the door. Sarah, he was calling me from behind. But I was quick. I opened the door and ran out just to bump into Luke, who was there in front of the door. What is he doing here? Sarah! I heard Luke too yelling at me with shock. Fortunately, there was no one else in the corridor. I just ran away. I know deep down me, I desired for letting him invade my LPS as he pleased, but I felt really shy. I went to my locker and took out some books that are required for the next lecture, while still feeling like sleepwalking. I wanted to go to the lecture room and stay there alone for some time. Did he get angry with me? I am so stupid. I heard my phone ring to indicate a new text message. I quickly took out it and check. Even it is for a split second, I love it. I hope the next time it would be much longer. He is not angry. My face lit up with a smile. I have to really stop acting like a child. I was walking drowning in my own thoughts when I bumped into someone. I had a few books in my hand, and all of them fall down, just like in those movies. Without even bothering to see who got bumped into me, I squat down to collect my books. The same time that person also squat down together with me. I am so sorry. With that deep voice, I looked at that person. He was a super handsome guy, dressed in formal attire. He looked too sophisticated to be a student, yet too young to be a lecturer. Who this guy is? An old boy? It is okay, I replied with a smile. He helped to collect my books. His fingers touched mine when we both were going to grab a book. Sorry, we both said simultaneously. This made both of us smiling. Exactly in the movies. Chapter 44. After collecting all the books, we both stood up at the same time. I am so sorry. I was in a bit of a hurry, he apologized. Oh. That's okay. I was not paying attention to where I was going. I replied, smiling. He shook his head with a smile. By the way, I am Andrew, he said, offering his hand. I am Sarah. Nice to meet you, Andrew. I shook his hand. Nice to meet you too, Sarah. Which year are you in? I am in the second year. What about you? I asked. Oh. I am not a student, he replied, laughing. I thought so. Why am I too old to be a student? He asked, faking a frown. No, no. You dress formally, and you know. You look too sophisticated to be a student. I said. Ah. Then it's fine, he grinned. So. Who you are actually? I asked, wondering myself how I became this talkative all of a sudden. I am usually shy to talk with strangers. Not just strangers. I am not even comfortable talking with most of my batch mates. But something about him makes me feel comfortable with him and let me speak with him without any shyness. I am a lecturer. I am assigned to the interdisciplinary studies department, he replied. Oh my! Is he a lecturer? Oh! You are a lecturer. Why? Don't tell me, I am not sophisticated enough to be a lecturer, though I look more sophisticated than a student, he replied, chuckling. No. I mean you look young, ah. This is my very first appointment. You know, just graduated, he chuckled again. Ah. That's really nice, I said in total appreciation because it was my dream too. I want to be a lecturer after I graduate. God. I am getting late, he said, nervously looking at his watch. Can you please show me where the dean's office is? He again asked. Of course. Mr. I hesitated because he didn't tell me his surname when he introduced himself. Mr. Patterson, he said, laughing. Let's go, Mr. Patterson, I said with a smile. There was only a short distance to the dean's office. So we reached there soon. Thank you, Sarah. See you around, he said, offering me a smile. I went to the lecture room after that. I was anyway in far better status than earlier after the unexpected interruption. The lecture went well without any trouble. Right after the lecture, I went to the cafe and then to the home. Jake called me after I finished cleaning and cooking. He took a video call, and we talked with each other until midnight. My life is turning to a fairy tale a little by little. Who thought I would find this much happiness one day? I thought handsome princes loving poor girls happens only in movies. But I am lucky enough to have such a prince in the real life. Next day morning, I was at the bus stop to get a bus to the university. Suddenly a car stopped in front of me. I walked towards that car with a smile. Good morning, Luke. I greeted. Good morning, madam. Get on. He opened the door for me. Where you went? I asked. I had to go to one of my relatives' house. I spent last night there. Where is your house? I asked because I didn't really know where Jake or Luke lives. My parents' house is not here. They live in the downtown. I have a small house here, just like Jake's. I will take you there one day, he replied. You both live alone. Why don't you just stay together? I asked. There is plenty of space in Jake's place for two of them, and they are best friends after all. So I didn't see the point why they don't stay together. Well, you know, Jake doesn't like to stay with me. He doesn't want to let people know that I am an important person in his life. What? But why? I can't understand. I said with confusion. Well, it is the same reason why he can't let anyone know about you as well. He doesn't want to show that he is close to anyone, he replied casually. So, whatever the reason Jake wants to hide our affair, is not something simple. It must be something complicated and scary. Do you know why he wants to keep all of it a secret? I asked. Yes, he replied without even looking at me. His eyes were focused on the road. If he can let you know the reason, why can't he let me know that too? It is not like that I am going everywhere telling people about it. I said sadly. It hurts me to even think that Jake doesn't trust me enough. If I was not there with him since we were just toddlers and experience everything in his life together with him, he won't let me know either. It is actually not that he let me know, but I kind of know everything about him. Our fathers are best friends. So we got to spend time with each other since we were infants. His father usually doesn't approve most of his friends. So I am like the only long-term friend he has. We were inseparable since we were kids. I have spent more time in his house than in mine. However, when we come to high school, there were many changes in his life. He had to go through a lot. After that only, he wanted to keep everything a secret. We started to spend less time in public, hanging out with each other, though we spent hours talking to each other over the phone every day. Luke kept on talking. I was looking at him with my eyes wide opened. Why his dad didn't approve many of his friends? Is he that strict? Will he approve of me someday? What are the troubles Jake had to go through during high school so that his life got changed a lot? God! I needed answers to many questions. I am sure I am not going to get answers to them from Luke, anyways. However, I wish Jake will come up with answers to all of these pretty soon. Sarah. Not even for a second think that he is not trusting you or love you any less because he has to hide things from you. He loves you too much, that's why he wants to keep you out of all the troubles. Luke said, looking at me. We have already arrived at university at that time. So he had parked his car. I know that, Luke. But sometimes it is kind of overwhelming to stay in the dark. I said, closing my eyes and resting my head on the headrest. Believe me, Sarah. Stay in the dark is far better than knowing the truth. His voice was filled with sadness and worry. It actually made me panic. I opened my eyes and looked at him. He was just staring at the steering wheel. One day will everything be okay, Luke? I asked involuntarily. Let's make everything okay, Sarah. Believe in him and your love, he said, holding my hand tightly. We both spent a few more minutes in his car, just holding hands, without saying anything. Then I got down from his car and walked a bit away and wait until he gets down. I saw Mr. Patterson got down from a very luxurious car. He must be super rich to afford that kind of a car, there is no doubt. If that is so, why he chose lecturing as his profession. Indeed, he must love lecturing very much, and he must be very passionate about it. Otherwise, why a rich, handsome guy would choose an academic position, right after graduation? I think he caught me staring at him. He waved at me and smiled. God! What an embarrassment! Don't know what he thought about me. I just smiled at him. Fortunately, Luke came, just then. So, it saved me from further embarrassment. I met Mr. Patterson again in the afternoon when I was going to the canteen. "Hello, Sarah," he said, smiling brightly. "Hello, Mr. Patterson. Hope you have settled down well in the faculty," I said. "Yes. Yes. All of your lectures are friendly and welcoming. So I found it really easy," he said, smiling again. "That's nice. I was actually wanted to meet you, Sarah," he said with a serious face. "Meet me? Why? Don't get panicked. I am preparing lecture content for psychology, which you will have in your next semester," he said. "Oh. Do you teach psychology? That's interesting." I smiled. "Yeah, I am teaching you psychology and one non-GPA subject, music." "Music? Really? That's amazing. I didn't know we could take music as a non-GPA subject," I said excitingly. It was indeed a piece of good news. I love music, and I would love to take it as a non-GPA subject. "You are into music?" he asked. "Yeah. I love music. I love singing and playing the guitar," I replied. "Great. Then I think you can help me with that subject too. I am planning to organize some events and things like that." Professor Hofstadter showed me. "There is a requirement of giving the highly technical undergraduates like you all an opportunity to explore more about the aesthetic subjects. So you will all have a well-balanced mind," he said. "Of course, I agree. But you first needed my help regarding your psychology lecture, right?" I asked. "Yes, I thought it's better to have some discussions with a few students, before finalizing the content. Since I already know you, I thought of beginning with you," he said. "Oh. Sure. I am happy to help," I said with a big smile on my face. When I look up after agreeing to help him, I saw Jake was just behind Mr. Patterson. He was staring at us, and he didn't look happy at all. Chapter 45, MMM. "Mr. Patterson, I have to go," I said tensely, looking at Jake, who was staring at us. "Ah. Sure. I will let you know the time of our discussion," he replied with a bit of confusion due to the sudden change of my voice. "Yes, please let me know," I said, smiling lightly, and I walked passing him towards Jake. Jake started to walk away as soon as he saw I was walking in his direction. He can't be mad just because I talked with a lecturer. That's ridiculous. Scolding him from my mind, I walked to the canteen to grab something to eat. My phone rang, even before I find myself a place to sit and eat. It was a new message from Jake. "Come to your secret hiding place," now the message said. Secret hiding place. So he knows about that too. Of course, you silly, he knows that. Otherwise, how he put that very first note with a cup of hot chocolate? I thought while recollecting that day which started to turn my whole life upside down. I am about to eat. Shall I come after that? I sent a reply. Can't you understand when I say now? He sent an immediate reply. You arrogant jerk. Why you can't wait till I finish my sandwich? You must have a good reason for this, Jake, or I will kill you. Fortunately, I haven't removed the wrapper of my sandwich. So, I just put it to my bag and left the canteen. I got into the elevator and pressed 9 instead of 10. I was afraid if someone sees I have pressed 10 and be curious about that because normally no one goes to the 10th floor. After getting to the 9th floor, I walked towards the staircase. Luke was there near the staircase. "What are you doing here?" I asked, wondering. "Giving security to the king and the queen," he chuckled. That made me forget all the hard feelings I had, and I laughed with him. "Go. He is waiting for you," he said. Then I quickly ran up the stairs. Jake was there nervously walking here and there. He stopped walking and kept on staring at me as he saw me. "Jake, we need to stop seeing each other like this, if you still want to keep us a secret," I said annoyingly. "Sit," he ordered, showing 2 chairs arranged around a table. There was a considerably big parcel on the table. He is indeed arrogant and dominating. He doesn't even bother to answer my questions. I sat without saying anything. He also sat on the next chair. Then he started to open the parcel which was on the table. There was a lot of food. Not canteen food either, he must have bought these from a restaurant. "What are these?" I asked with surprise, looking at a large amount of food in front of me. There was enough food for at least 4 people. "Can't you see this is food?" he said bitterly. "Yes, I know. But why?" I asked again. "For you to eat," he said plainly. "But I got food," I said, showing him the sandwich I bought. "People need to eat something healthy, other than a sandwich every day," he yelled at me. My eyes widened. So he bought all this for me because he wants me to eat healthy food? He worked all dominating and took me here, just to serve me a healthy meal. My poor Jake. He doesn't need to go through all these troubles. Jake. I have no words to express. But you really didn't need to go through this trouble, I said with a warm heart that filled with gratitude and love for him. How can this be trouble? You are the person I love. Anything I do for you is never troubling me, he said, looking right into my eyes. I know you spend most of the days with a sandwich, or someday even without that. I wish I could buy your meal every day. But unfortunately I cannot, and I know you will never let me do that every day. So I thought, why I don't try it on a few random days, he added with a small smile. How much do you concern about me? I asked, while my eyes filled with tears. I spent all my life with people who didn't give a sh about whether I ate or not. Most of the days, they just threw away food without letting me eat. Hey! Please don't cry. Be a good girl and eat now, he said, gently wiping out tears from my cheeks. It took me a few minutes to calm down and stop crying. He just stayed there, caressing my head softly. Then we both started eating. The food was delicious. I ate until I felt like I am going to throw up. What you discussed that interestingly with him earlier? He asked out of nowhere when I was helping him clean the stuff. Well, I was expecting that question from him, but not now. You mean, Mr. Patterson? I asked. He nodded his head nervously. He is preparing the content for our psychology lecture series next semester. He is going to have discussions with a few students before finalizing the content. He wanted to check whether I am willing to help with that. I explained. Why he chose you to ask that, he gr0aned. I met him yesterday too. So he kind of knows me now. I said. Met you yesterday? Where? He came in yesterday evening. Yes. Yesterday when I was going to the lecture hall, I bumped into him. That made all the books on my hand fell down. Then he helped me collecting them. He introduced himself to me by that time. After that, I showed him the dean's office. I explained to him everything. Jake was staring at me, with his face clenched. He looked angry and worried at the same time. "Why, you always bump into someone. Can't you see properly? What is wrong with you?" he yelled at me. I didn't expect him to be this furious. "I didn't do it on purpose, Jake. I was totally out of my mind after that kiss," I managed to say after stuttering. "That doesn't give you an excuse to bump into people, Sarah," he said, holding me from shoulders. "I am sorry," I said, looking down. "Just stay away from him," he said firmly. "What? You can't be serious, right? I understand you don't like me being close with other guys, but he is a lecturer. When he asked me to help him with something, I just can't refuse it," I said a bit angrily. "Sarah, I am not a psycho to restrict you from talking with other guys. I indeed wish I can keep you just to myself. But I am not insane. I know you need to have friends and you need to help lecturers. Build positive relationships with people. But just not with this guy. You can support him with whatever he asked for. But do not ever let him get more close to you," he said furiously. "I don't think he needs to get close to one of his students either," I replied annoyingly. "Mr. Patterson seems to be a nice person. I couldn't understand why Jake acts like this." "You don't know about him, Sarah. You know nothing," he screamed. "Maybe I don't know about him, but do you know about him? You don't know even much as I do," I said in the same tone as his. "I know him far better than you think," he said, looking away. "What do you mean? You know him before he came here?" I asked with surprise. I don't know him before that. But I know guys like him because I am a guy too. Sarah, please understand. What I meant by staying away from him is, don't let him originate any kind of a relationship other than a usual teacher-student one. I mean not even a friendship, he said again, holding me from my shoulders. His eyes were focusing on mine like he was trying to look through to my soul, and let me feel him. I couldn't see even a bit of jealousy in those extraordinarily handsome pair of eyes. Instead, they were filled with love and concern. He is concerned about me. He is worried about me. My poor babe. You don't have to worry about that, Jake. I will never let him get into something like that. I know my limits," I said, putting my hands around him and keeping my head on his firm chest. "This world is so cruel, Sarah. You are like an innocent little doe. It is my responsibility to protect you. I will do that even if you don't want me to do so because you are mine," he said, gently raising my head up and placing his lips on mine. I didn't want to run away from him as yesterday. Instead, I wish I could be like this forever. His lips felt so hot and cozy on mine. I never thought having someone else's lips on mine would feel this great. Our kiss started as a gentle touch, but we both were fully immersed in the divine feeling we both were experiencing. Our kiss grew into a much romantic, intense kiss. He was caressing my head and neck from both of his hands, and my hands were caressing his hair. We both were like in our own little world, forgetting the rest of the world. God! How a simple kiss could feel this satisfying. Maybe when you are with the right person, you feel it that way. Chapter 46, I spent the rest of the day like I was in a dream. I could still taste the sweetness of his L.P.S. on mine, and feel the warmth of his touch on my body. This is certainly a beautiful dream. Who thought a girl nobody wanted would kiss everyone's Prince Charming on his lips? Life is totally unpredictable. One thing that we thought impossible to happen would become a normal, routine thing after some time. Please, God. Please don't let this happiness fade away. I won't ask for anything in my life again. Please let me be with him. In the night when I was just lying down on my bed, he called me. How are you, princess? His deep, warm voice raised from the other side. I haven't been this good since I can remember, I said, smiling. Same here, Sarah. Today is a dream that came true. His voice was highly excited. How many dreams we have, Jake? Would we be able to make all of them come true? Of course, princess. We can and we should. I will never let any of our dreams fade away, he said boldly. Why? Don't you believe me? He asked. Oh, no. I believe in you even more than I believe in myself. I am yet to know a lot of things, and they make me scared. I told the truth. Don't worry, Sarah. Those things you don't know, I will never let them destroy our dreams. I promise you that, he replied. After that, we were just talking about some random stuff for some time. Sarah, I forgot to tell you. We are going to be super busy in the coming few days. We have a match with Victoria University in their ground next week, he said when we were about to say good night. Ah. It is going to be a tough match, isn't it? I asked because the Victoria University team is the main rivalry team to us. Of course. That is why we need to do our best. We have planned to change our strategies a bit too. That's good. So, princess. I won't be able to take care of you in these days as much as I do now. Luke also won't be there for you. So I need you to be extra careful, he said worriedly. Don't worry, Jake. I promise you. I will be a good girl. I said, laughing. You are always a good girl, there is no doubt in that. I just want you to be cautious, he stated. Okay, Jake. I will be. I promised him. It would be another dream come true, I said softly. What? Watching you play in the court, knowing that you are mine, he laughed from the other end. Don't laugh. You don't know how many girls are dreaming about you when they watch you play on the court. Girls are practically drooling over you, I said annoyingly. Really? He faked a surprise. Oh. Didn't you know that? Don't act innocent, Jake. You know that girls are having huge crushes for you, though you act like you don't give a sh.t. I said. I am not acting like I don't give a sh.t. I really don't give about any of those girls, Sarah. My eyes, heart, and soul are just dedicated to one girl. You know who is that. But you didn't give a sh.t about that girl either. Can you remember one day, that girl came to you to get an autograph? You were giving everyone else autographs, but when it is her turn, you just stormed off. You know how much that hurt her, you know how much it hurts me to see, she acts all stupid like any other fangirl and begging for an autograph when I want her to be special, and I am willing to give her my entire life, he said in one breath. Really? Is that why you stormed off? I asked with surprise. Of course. I don't want her to be one of my fangirls, because each and every goal I scored, was just for her. Though it is hard to find such a tiny girl in the big crowd, my eyes have this specialty of finding her. She may not have noticed, but each time I scored a goal, I first look at her among the spectators just to see her beautiful smile. I didn't think you were looking at me those times. I thought you are just looking at your supporters, I said while tears filled in my eyes. God! If I knew all of these, how happy I would be those days. Why you hid your feelings from me, Jake? Okay, now you know that. I am not asking you to be there, because I know you are going to be there even if I didn't ask you to. So when you are there, just remember that guy who everyone is dreaming about is yours. Just yours forever, he said. I am 1000% sure, if he was here with me, I would kiss him in those lips until both of us can't breathe anymore. One more thing, Sarah, he said. Yes, if I score 3 goals in this match, I need something from you, he said. Scoring 3 goals in this match by yourself. It is pretty hard, isn't it? I asked, wondering. Yes, it is. Everything I get from you is so valuable to me. That's why I am willing to try my best to earn that, he said, chuckling. You know, Jake. There is nothing in my life that I can't give you. You don't really have to work to earn any of those. I said, and I meant every word of that. I know it, Sarah. But I owe you so much for hiding things from you. So when I want something special from you, I want to earn it, he replied. Okay, then. What will you need from me? I asked, smiling. I will let you know that later. Okay, Mr. Perfect. Do your best and earn it. As he said, they were both pretty busy for the rest of the days. Not just them, the whole football team and the cheerleading squad were super busy. I hardly saw them other than in lectures. Even at night, Jake was exhausted to even talk with me over the phone for a long time. But he called me every night, and most of the time, he fell into sleep in the middle of our call. However, he texted me each and every time he could. I know he was doing his best to balance his studies, football, and me. But there are times I really miss him. So, someday I went to the football field, just to see they practice. But I couldn't do that every day as I was afraid someone will suspect something. You know, hiding an affair from everyone around you is harder than you can ever imagine. Each and every minute, you have to be scared, thinking someone will suspect something. However, days passed like this, and then it was the day of the match everyone was eagerly waiting for. I was on my way to Victoria University when I heard my phone ring. The call was from Jake. Hello, princess, his deep voice raised. We came to Victoria. I am about to switch off my phone and put it in the locker. But before that, I felt like I need to hear your voice, he said. Oh. Wish you all the best, Jake. I know you are going to nail this. I said. Give me a kiss, he said. What? Yeah, give me a kiss over the phone. Be quick, he said. I blushed even though he was nowhere near me. Sarah, quickly, he said again. I gave him a kiss over the phone. It felt a bit awkward but romantic too. The whole stadium was filled with spectators. Due to the long-time rivalry between the two universities and their highly skilled players, this match has become one of the interesting topics in sports, and there were a lot of reporters too. Hey, a beautiful blonde girl from our university sat next to me, and she greeted me. Her name is Sally, have I mentioned her? If not, she is one of those girls who didn't bother me at university. As far as I know, she is from a rich family, and her grades are not that bad either. Hey, I said in reply. Today is going to be a big day, hey, she said. Of course, hopefully odds may in our favor, I said, smiling. Then it was announced the arrival of the Victoria team. The whole stadium echoed with cheers. Then it was our team. We all stood up cheering for our players. They came to the field, led by my Jake. My prince. After him, it was Luke, who is the vice-captain, and then Shane. Jake was looking at the supporters of our university. I knew he was looking for me. I just waved the flag which was on my hand, but I knew he can't see it among all the other flags that are waved in the air. However, his face lit up with a smile, and it was my signal that he saw me. Then the match began. It was a pretty tough match as both teams have a talented set of players. However, Jake managed to score a goal within the first 10 minutes. Everyone stood up cheering. Jake! 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 His name was echoing everywhere. Jake looked at the area I was sitting, with a huge smile on his face. His sweat-covered face looked handsome than ever, and it was so hard not to run to him and kiss him. The girls who were sitting in front of us seemed to be huge Jake fans. They even had his posters. He looked at us and smiled. One of them screamed. Yet! It is his rare smile. He looks handsome than ever. Oh, Jake! Marry me, please, one of the other girls screamed. Not in this lifetime, he is going to marry you, girl. He is mine. Only mine. I thought, smiling. Chapter 47, Oh God! Jake, how you became this SXY, one of the other girls screamed. I am thinking, how will it be to kiss those lips, another one screamed. Well, I can tell you how it felt to kiss those lips, girl. It felt like a dream, nothing can beat the warmth of his lips. I am going to get an autograph from him today, one girl said. We all are going to get autographs from him, another one replied. I am not going to get his autograph on a piece of paper, the first girl said again. She was the same girl who said she needs to marry my Jake. Then, another girl asked in total surprise. On, that girl screamed. Her friends cheered. What? I just wanted to grab that from her ponytail and slap her face. How dare her to even think about something like that about my Jake? It will be the end of your fantasies. He hates when girls throw themselves at him. He will be furious if something like this happened. Having a boyfriend like him is not an easy task. I haven't thought about it until now. So many girls dream about him. It is like loving a celebrity. I have to bear all of these and get used to hearing all the dirty things other girls would talk about him. Poor me. The game has resumed when I am drowned in my own thoughts. I think staying one goal ahead of the Victoria team made our players more energetic. But the Victoria team was also at a really good pace. The ball was mostly with our players getting passed from player to player, but it was too hard to score a goal again. I think their defenders are very talented. However, one time Victoria team was so close to score a goal, and at the last second, Shane was able to turn the ball in another direction. The whole stadium stood up with awe. That was such a brilliant level of goalkeeping. No wonder, he is the best goalkeeper our university has ever produced. I guess no one even thought that he could defend it. Everything happened so quickly, and when I was expecting to see the ball in the goal, it was not. I felt really proud of my brother. He is giving his heart and soul to this sport, and it serves him exactly as he needs. The game was going on, and it was so close to the half break. Now the match is even more intense. Victoria's team was ready to do anything to score a goal. Anyway, the game hit the half-time, while we are one goal ahead. Sally went to grab something to drink. I didn't even feel like getting something to drink. I think I was too nervous even for that. Don't know how they managed to beat their nervousness in the pitch and focus on the game? Maybe that's something that comes with their practice. I just hope odds are in our favor for the rest of the match too. But will Jake be able to score 2 more goals as he said? It looks pretty impossible with their defense. I wish I could see him now, even for a minute, I mean not a few meters away from me. I wish I can be in his arms for just a minute. This is for you, Sally said, handing me a can of Coca-Cola. Oh, thank you, but how you managed to buy this, fast? I thought there will be a lot of people, I said, wondering. Yeah. There were a lot of people, she said, smiling. But I know the guy who sells these, she added. Oh, that's nice, I replied, smiling. Sarah, can I ask you something? Please don't think I am trying to look into your personal life or anything, okay, she said. Yeah. You can ask anything, I said with a bit of confusion. Is she going to ask something about Jake? You are a friend of Luke, right? She asked after a small pause. Luke. Yeah, there is no use of telling lies, I think everyone in the university knows that Luke is my friend. Because he always talks to me whenever he saw me, and he eats with me whenever possible. Now, he even sits near me in lectures. I have never seen he lets a girl get closer to him as he does for you. I was staring at her, trying to figure out what she was trying to say. Are you two having something, other than friendship? She asked hesitantly. What? Oh. No, I said involuntarily. He is a good friend, there is nothing else, I added after that. Does he have an affair with someone else? She asked. As far as I know, he is not having an affair with anyone, I replied. You are not lying to me, are you? She asked again. Of course not, I assured. Look, Sarah. Please don't get me wrong. I like Luke, she said, leaving me shocked. I think, like is not the correct word. I love him, Sarah. I love him so much, for many years, she said. She sounds so desperate, which reminds me, myself in the past. We went to the same high school. He is so handsome and cheerful. I found him totally different from all the other guys I knew. I don't know when I started loving him. But since high school, I was totally obsessed with him. He hasn't even spoken more than 100 words with me in this entire time. Even the things he talked with me were related to academics. He has talked with you relating to academics, Sally. I was not even that lucky. Does he know how you feel about him? I asked. God. No. I was too afraid to let him know that. I am not ready to take any chance with him, Sarah. I want this to work out between us, for real, she said instantly. I know he hates girls throwing themselves at him. So, I don't want to be one of them. Even though I come to every match he plays just to watch him, I never go even close to him. Even to get an autograph. This girl truly is another Sarah. She seems to have the same feelings I have. The only difference is she has them for Luke, not Jake. I know there are a lot of girls dream about Luke, but this is the first time a girl talked about it with me. Hearing her confession after I heard my brother's confession about Luke made me totally lost. Sarah, you are the only one who knows about my feelings other than me. I have never talked about these even with one of my close friends. I love him that much, Sarah. I don't want to let anything goes wrong, she said. But I can't just stay far away from him, and watch until I lose him. I have to let him know about my feelings. But to be honest, I don't know how, I was looking at her, worriedly. I feel you, girl. What can I do for you, Sally? I asked, kindly. Sarah. Since he is close to you, maybe you can make me an opportunity to get close to him, she said, looking right into my eyes. Her eyes were filled with hope. This is such a dilemma. My brother and this girl loves the same person. It seems both of them love him so much. To whom I should support? Anyway, Shane asked me to stay away from his problems. So I can't talk about him with Luke. But this girl is clearly asking for my help. It is easier for me to talk with Luke about a girl than about a guy, isn't it? Especially about a girl who is beautiful and sweet. I don't really know what Luke feels about her. Sometimes I feel that Luke loves someone so much. But he never has given me even a hint on who that is. Sometimes, it can be this girl. There is a very high possibility of this girl having a chance with him than Shane has any chance with Luke. God! These two people have put me in big worry. Sarah, Sally shook my head as I was just so connected to my own thoughts. The game also has started. Look, Sally. I don't know how he feels about you or anything. But I will help you, I said, holding her hand. Thank you. Thank you a lot, she hugged me so tightly. We both laugh at her spontaneous reaction. She is really in love with him. You are such a lucky fellow, Luke. You are loved by so many people, and you totally deserve it. I thought while looking at Luke in the field. I was pulled out of my thoughts as Victoria's team scored a goal against us. The ball went just an inch away from Shane's fingertips to the net. The whole ground was echoed with cheers for the Victoria team. Shane looked so annoyed. But he tried his best, didn't he? That is the nature of the game. He was just kneeling down in front of the goal, looking miserable. Then Luke came from somewhere, and he ruffled Shane's hair and offered his hand to Shane. Shane stood up, holding Luke's hand. Luke told something to him. Maybe something to cheer him up. Luke is always cheering up his fellow players and being supportive. But this is the first time I have seen him cheering up Shane. Or maybe I was so focused on Jake all the time, and I missed what other players were doing in the field. However, Shane was back to his usual spirit and game resumed. The rest of the audiobooks will be uploaded in the next episode. Join us on Patreon to listen to more unlimited audiobooks.